American Hunger Games, and Up in Flames.
On this episode of Simply Necessary Conversations.
So let's start it out with the trending topic. And unfortunately, the trending topic is that the Department of Homeland Security is reportedly considering a reality TV show for citizenship. And I had to check and make sure this wasn't a joke and that it was actually reputable news, and then I saw it on all of the outlets that I follow at my place of work. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, we're for real right now. So do you think that is a good, innovative option to solve our problem of immigration, or, so-called problem of immigration in this country? Or do you think it's bat-ass crazy?
So are they just proposing this, or is this actually a go? Like, are they doing this?
No, it's not a go.
But it's something that they are wanting to do.
Yeah. Well, someone suggested it.
Okay, well, first of all, it's bat-ass crazy, as you said. The fact that they want to play games with people's lives ticks me off, and there's other words that I want to use, but I'm going to keep this PG-13. Like, the audacity of them to want to make people's lives a game. Now, there's reality TV shows where people compete for this and that and other thing, and that's fine. That's reality TV show, but this is reality minus the show. It makes no sense that we have people in government that even think that way. Yeah. It makes no sense that there are people in government not stopping the people that think that way from coming up with all this BS. I'm sick of it. It just irks me to a T that they're even contemplating that. The fact that was even suggested tells you how unserious our current government is about people's livelihoods and their lives. Like, that's just crazy.
I just want to interject and say this is how CBS News reported on it. This is the first paragraph of their story. It says, a veteran reality show producer claims the Department of Homeland Security and the President Trump administration are considering his game show that would pit immigrants against each other for a chance at a fast-tracked path to citizenship. I also saw reports the other day that said that if someone were to lose this hypothetical competition, it doesn't mean automatic deportation. But it still sounds very dystopian and very odd.
Department of Homeland Security and game show should never intersect. Department of Homeland Security should be making sure that the homeland is secure. Secure for the people that are already here, that are citizens, that should be protected from outside danger. And then secure for anyone who is seeking asylum or trying to become a U.S. citizen legally. That's what their job is. Yeah. Game shows, when do you have time? With everything that's going on in the world, when do they have time, number one, to watch a game show, let alone pitch a game show? Like, this is not a game. Get serious. This is not a game. And it really ticks me off that we now have elected officials that have the time and even the thought processes to be talking about games. Because, like I said, it shows how unserious they are. It makes it very obvious that they got into government to get attention and for financial gain, not to do anything to help anybody.
And apparently, also according to the CBS News article, officials said discussions are preliminary, so I guess they're considering them, but nothing has
I think
been
anybody involved
yet.
In the discussion should be fired. Like, they should be fired.
Well, they're not going to fire nobody.
Well, they need to be.
And he apparently, the producer who is behind Duck Dynasty, which I don't know how that gives him any more credibility.
It doesn't.
He also pitched the idea to the Obama administration and the first Trump administration, and I guess it was obviously denied. But now, I guess, with our withering away of tradition, it's just
withering away of sanity and normalcy, now is being considered.
It's, to me, it really, like, do y'all not watch shows that stuff like this actually happens? Like, it reminds me of The Giver and The Hunger Games, and
literally The Hunger Games.
At what point is it not just immigrants that are competing for basic American human rights?
We've already reached the point where American citizens are not being given due process in certain situations, at least based on things I've seen. Like, I'm really already a little bit afraid at how people who claim to be working for the government. We have no proof or evidence, and we are not being, I shouldn't say we, people are not being allowed to require them to identify themselves as true government officials and people that actually work for the government. Masked people are walking up to other people on the street and snatching them off the street and imprisoning them, and in some cases helping to deport them. We don't know now at this point who is really a government official and who is not, because they're not being made to identify what agencies they work for. So like any nutcase can get decal or something printed on a T-shirt and just snatch people off the street. And because it's becoming more and more common, it's becoming more and more dangerous. So like this whole thing is bat crap crazy. I'm not going to say all the words, and I got some words that I want to say. I'm not going to say all the words I want to say, but something has to give. And I'm angry with both of our two major political parties, one for doing this mess and the other for sitting back acting like they can't stop it. Now, what's going to make it stop is when they and people like them and their people start to get touched by it. Then they'll wake up. It's just like everything else. They can't do anything about it, or they're not concerned about it until it hits home. I just saw, and maybe my reporting could be off because I'm not a reporter, that James Comey, because of a picture of something that he took on the beach where somebody had said something that implied either removing or doing some harm to our current Oval Office occupant, that they are now looking at maybe possibly bringing him in. So when people like him that thought they were untouchable, or that things didn't matter, or that, it's those people and we'll worry about it later, when people like him start to get snatched up, then they'll maybe wake up and start to do something.
This is just what happens when you give reality TV stars power in the government.
Because they're picked from central casting to get jobs.
People that are in the industry of entertainment or in the industry of being news television hosts, and you give them power to actually run a country,
they fall back into what they're capable of doing.
Absurd to them because they're already a part of that lifestyle. They already think that way. So to even consider this being a headline is just disgusting to me, because instead of actually implementing legislation that could help immigrants who are seeking asylum, help immigrants who are fleeing their home countries for whatever persecution
immigrants that helped us out in foreign wars, who were promised protection for helping us out, they're being backburned.
Instead of figuring out ways to help them, they are talking about having a TV show. So once again, people in higher power positions, people that have a higher social standing than other people, can sit back and watch. I'm saying all of this. Go watch Squid Games and you can see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Literally. Go watch Squid Games and it's the exact same thing, except maybe they're not allowed to kill each other.
Yeah.
But who knows at this point?
Well, we don't know. And that's the thing. It's just, it's mind-boggling. And how do we, our presence in the world outside of this country, we're laughing stocks at this point. They're trying to figure out how we, who used to proclaim that we were the best country we're the greatest nation in the world, how we have come to this. And I'm sitting in the middle of it trying to figure out, how did we come to this? I used to, in my profession, talk to students about the law and being law-abiding and doing this and doing that.
The rule of law.
I don't even talk about that kind of thing anymore because it's laughable. I don't even talk to them about, the three parts of the government, because there are all of that has been erased, and it has made life very difficult, in that it really is causing cognitive dissonance. It's causing people to not even know on a day-to-day basis what to expect. Like, all norms are out the window, and it's very scary. It's very scary.
It's absolutely
very scary.
Very bonkers.
And people that are sitting back not paying attention, you're going to pay attention. When your grandma don't get her Social Security check, when Meals on Wheels does not take the meals to your auntie and your uncles that used to get Meals on Wheels, when your kids are no longer being able to watch their favorite shows on PBS, and you're not able to hear, those of you that are intellectuals, you're not able to listen to NPR, when it starts to hit home, it may be too late for you to wake up. So you better wake up now.
And what's scary is that there are a lot of people who don't see anything wrong with it. And if you do, not to bring it back to fiction, but fiction often mirrors reality. If you watch shows that are dystopian, in dystopian areas or whatever, you see how easy it is for people to get sucked in because they're up here and somebody else is down here. Now we all down here.
Yeah.
So it's just, I feel like people need to actually be paying attention. They need to be reading their history. They need to be paying attention. Even, oh my gosh, that movie with the Teslas that crashed everywhere. What, you know
Leave the World Behind?
Leave the World Behind, like, stuff like that, I feel like gives you it might be on a grander, more dramatic, sensationalized scale, but it gives you a look into
what
this
could
could
happen.
actually happen if the right things fall into place.
Well, if you're someone that wants to kind of see, in a fictionalized way, but like art imitates life, as they say, read 1984. I know 1984 was a long time ago for some of you, but I read 1984 in 1984. Read 1984. Read
Dang.
Animal Farm. Yeah, I literally, 1984 was reading 1984. And at that point, it was a projection into the future. We are now there, people. We are there. We are, those signs in the mall and places, big place. You are here. We are there now. And so you need to read how, and I used to tell my kids, digitizing everything. If you wanted to change books back in 1984, you had to collect all the copies of that book. Or Fahrenheit 451, you had to do something. Now, if you put all the books, like which a lot of the curriculum and stuff is online, all you got to do is click a button to change history. They are now operating in double speak. They are now telling you things that, they're looking at white and saying it's black and looking at black and saying it's white and saying it over and over until people believe it.
Almost every episode is because everyone's algorithm is so different that you can be seeing one set of facts that influence your decisions.
You can see one set of
you get what I'm saying.
But representation of facts.
Sometimes it actually is facts, but they're taken out of context.
It's facts taken out of context,
so you don't,
or it is lies by omission.
But you're living in a world where you don't really know what to believe, because there's been plenty of times where you see something and I'm like, where you saw that at? Or that's not what I saw.
Yeah.
Or anyone that I know, we're seeing stuff. And we're having complete discussions seemingly, but we only have half the information.
And it goes back to when I used to tell you, you can be talking about the same subject with somebody, but talking about two different things.
And then also, a lot of people are not capable of comprehending concepts and opinions and ideas.
And like you said, it's not always a lie. It's that thing where they talk about, the blind men having to describe an elephant, but one of them is feeling his tusk, and one of them is feeling his tail, and one of them is feeling his legs, and they're all describing this elephant in different ways. None of them are lying, but they're describing something that they are perceiving in a whole different light. So you need to, if you're within the sound of our voices, you need to educate yourself. You better find some news and vary your news. You better look, because Hunger Games is loading. It is loading.
Yeah.
And y'all, So anyway, I don't want to be hyper political, because our show was meant to be entertaining and informative, but entertaining.
But sometimes the entertainment and the politics end up intersecting.
Sometimes you need to drop a little reality and some truth bombs. Yeah. So this was our truth bomb today. You better find out before the Hunger Games start. And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Well, that makes me want to rewatch the whole series, because I never watched the new movie, and now they're coming up with a second.
I don't think I watched the last ones, but anyway.
But we're educating y'all on politics, but there is a young black woman on TikTok and on YouTube and all the social media that's educating kids on everything that they need to know. You probably heard of Miss Rachel, love her, but there's also Ms. Houston, and I recently discovered her, and I just feel like because we're a podcast that's all about uplifting black women and black voices, that we have to give her a shout out.
And see, you're educating me because I don't know.
Yeah, learning with Ms. Houston, and she makes content for kids, very similar to like Tab Time, very similar in that vibe. But because everyone just likes her personality, her songs have kind of gone into like adult TikTok, and people are using them for like their fun transitions and their dances or whatever. But basically she got her master's in education. She was a teacher. And she has a great voice. She can sing, she can rap, and she's using all of those tools together to, help teach children and tell them everything that they need to know. And she's gone viral. She has like almost 400,000 followers on TikTok. I think she's like at 200K on YouTube. So, in the future, way in the future, when I have my own kids, they can listen to Miss.
I'm gonna add some more ways.
Well, not way, but way.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I just thought it was a cute little educational kid show that's, centered around a black woman, and I don't know. I think we need some positive representation.
And I like that she has a master's in education. So she
actually knows what she's
clearly doing. Knows what she's doing. She's not just somebody that can sing. She also has some knowledge behind her singing. So big ups to her.
So moving on to what had happened was So this creator, she's been around for years. She kind of started out doing fashion content, and then she got close to God and started doing more Christian content. And now she's about to get married, so she's doing like fiance wife type content. But she got on TikTok, and her video blew up of her saying that you can really tell when a woman is in a happy, stable, committed relationship when she's more feminine, and like when she's embracing her femininity and like wearing all the cutesy girly stuff and the pink and the bows and all of that. So what do you think? Do you think that's a telltale sign that someone is happy in their relationship, or do you think that it kind of differs with every woman?
I think it differs because honestly, I think I'll get into my feminine energy more when I'm not in a relationship.
Really?
Because I have more time. I have more time to devote to. Now,
Yeah.
I've done both things. Of course, feminine energy, try to look your best, whatever stuff, to attract a man. Unfortunately, I will say this is one of the many things that I did wrong in the marriage, because it was not just him. It was me too. I acknowledge my fault in a lot of ways. Once I got married, I kind of went the opposite way in that I was a little bit more frumpy and I downplayed because I knew, well, I thought and I felt like he knew what I could look like when I wanted to look good. So that was not where I was focused. And also, if I was going out alone, I tried not to draw attention to myself in a certain kind of way because, like, I already had a man. Like, I didn't want to draw the attention of men. So I dressed a little bit more conservative. I didn't try to be that girl walking in the room because, like, I got a man and he knows me and he knows what I look like. He gets to see it all. So, like, I didn't feel like I needed to do that. That was a big mistake, I feel like, number one, because I think it made him think that, like, men are not necessarily the best at visualizing. They have to see it. So, like, I think that kind of maybe took away from the marriage a little bit. But then also, it made people, because I can remember when I did start, like, back, doing things for myself, everybody's like, oh, I can remember one night in particular, my ex-sister-in-law was like, where was you hiding all of that? Like, I have never seen. And it was funny to me because I'm like, nothing has really changed, but like, I just kind of embrace my femininity. So I think it depends on the person, where you are in your life. Now, I'm very mindful if I get a new boo that I'm going to always present in a way that, whatever, where in my marriage and in previous relationships, I felt like, okay, they know I can do things, but I don't necessarily have to do those things all the time. And then also now I do it because I like, for me. Like, I do things for me. I'm not dressing for anybody else. I'm not, putting on clothes. I'm doing it for me because I like me now. Like, I like me.
See, for me, I feel like I've always been hyper feminine and always like
because I wanted a girly girl.
Like, I always like the cutesy. Like, my favorite color is pink. I love to wear a dress. Like, I love to wear a little jewelry, get my hair did, get my nails done, put on a little makeup. So
in other words, she's very extra, folks.
A little bit.
Very extra.
Like,
but that's
my nails
fault.
need to be done. My hair needs to be done. The outfit doesn't have to be elaborate. It don't have to be designer, but it needs to be cute.
And that's my fault because I can remember thinking once I found out I was having a girl, I was like, I want her to be a girly girl. Like, I just want her to be so prissy. Be careful what you pray for, folks, because she is extra AF. I'm going to leave it right there.
Well, I enjoy being like super girly and hyper feminine, whatever. So I feel like I've always been like that. I think for me getting into a relationship, it was more of a mindset thing. Like, before, I feel like I was being not more masculine per se, but being a little bit more B-wordy, being a little bit more agitated, being a little bit more combative or argumentative or whatever. And I don't feel the need to do that. Like, I'm just
now it's just everything. It just makes you giggle.
I know. But it's more like I'm just like I can turn my brain off and I'm just a girl.
And right now, because I'm still eyes on you, bro. But right now, you have a guy, because I'm about to give him a compliment. I don't want him to get a big head.
Oh my God.
Right now, you're with a guy that you can do that. You're with a guy that doesn't mind taking the lead. You're with a guy that...
Don't say right now like it's not permanent.
I'm saying right now because he's still auditioning. Eyes on you, bro. But right now, you're with someone that has given you permission and the ability, not permission that you had to ask for, but like, he has allowed you to feel comfortable enough. You don't have to think for you and him. I've been with people in the past where I had to constantly be thinking for me and them. You're with somebody that seems to have their own thought processes and very opinionated, little cocky self. So you can do that. You can be silly and be just as you like to tell him, I'm just a girl. Yeah, like because he said, I know you're just a girl. But like, you can do that with him because he seems responsible. Like I said, I don't want to give him a big head.
Okay, let's not drag it.
But anyway.
Like I was saying, I don't have to I don't have to, like, put on or be defensive or, like, protect my heart or what. Like, I can just be like, yeah, like, yay, where are we going? What are we doing? Passenger princess vibes, you know? And I also feel like, just like you were saying, I feel very confident and comfortable being frumpy in front of him because he still think I'm cute. Like, I'm still his girl. But at the end of the day, I still want to be girly. I still want to dress up. I still want him to look and be like, oh, dang, she fine. Like, that's my girl. And not necessarily be like, oh, you wearing a t-shirt or a moo again?
Yeah.
You got the bonnet on again, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it depends on the person. Some women are just not naturally super pink and girly and feminine or whatever, and they are still going to dress more masculine or have more of a masculine personality. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're in a toxic or unhealthy relationship. It just all presents differently.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on your situation and your time in life. I've never been mad. Like, I don't think I've ever had a time where I was masculine, but I have had times where I, like, dressed down and didn't really embrace being super, super feminine or super, super prissy. Like, now that's how I feel now. And and again, I'm not doing that for anybody in particular.
And I feel like
I just like
you
it.
feel more I feel more confident walking into work or walking into a weekend like with my hair done and my nails done and with a cute outfit. Like, you just feel more like I'm that girl versus
And then
being
when
like,
when women give you a compliment, like when women stop you in the store and say, I like your dress, or as one of my coworkers did recently, and I was really like, she just made my day. She was proctoring a test with me, and we were sitting like opposite sides of the room, and she literally got up from the back. And this is an ally. This is somebody that's a girl's girl. She got up, walked from the back of the room. I thought she was about to tell me something about one of the kids. And she was like, I just wanted to tell you, with the light hitting you the way it is, you look like an angel. You look so pretty today. And I was like, I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you, girl. But yeah, like, so it's nice to have a guy that makes you want to be feminine and brings that out of you. But I just think it depends on what you're going through at any given time.
Because, some dudes make you want to hit them with your car or something. You don't have to. If you're with somebody that you're actually in love with, you don't have those feelings of like resentment or anger or thinking about stuff that they have done or that they could do or that they want. Like, you don't have none of that because you just chilling.
Ooh, I hope nobody out there ever is in a relationship where you don't want to look nice for him because you don't even like him. You don't even feel like he deserves to have you look nice because, I think I've seen people who at a point just why I dress up for him. Or being in toxic
relationships where the guy doesn't want them to get dressed up because they're that jealous or that they don't want them to look pretty. And it's just like, I'm on your arm. Why can't I look cute?
Yeah, I think I was in at least one relationship where the person was glad that I did not try any harder or didn't try to like be at my best when I went out. I think they were kind of glad.
And that's not saying that he need to let his girl dress like a
we're not talking about being
over
half naked and overdone. And then please, you don't have to put on a full beat and a ball gown to go to Walmart. Like, I'm never going to be her, but I also am never going to be out in a bonnet.
I'm glad that
there's an in between.
I'm glad that I'm with the men that don't necessarily like all that makeup and stuff because I don't do all of that anyway.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it makes it a little bit easier that he just likes my bare face. Like he said, he want me to get married like this. Now that's stretching it.
Well, that's how I got married. Like I was much younger.
Stretching it.
I was much younger, but I did not feel like I needed all of that.
1-2 for my wedding day, but he was like, I don't know, I'm scared of that wedding
I'm
makeup.
with him. Me and him gonna talk. I'm with him. I feel
y'all
like
gonna talk about what when it's my face?
But I'm gonna be. He's not gonna be, but I'm gonna be wherever you're getting dressed. Yeah, I agree with him.
I feel like he'll probably ask you.
Me and him gonna talk. But I think the natural look, a little enhancement here and there is all you need. These people that look like a totally different person with makeup on, like if you don't look anything, that's scary. Like, I'm not a makeup girl, but I'll put on a little something. And if I had some major event that I thought warranted, especially, I live in Florida, you're not going to have me with a mask on outside and it's 2,000 degrees outside and I'm uncomfortable. I like when I go to a theme park being able to go in the bathroom, splash some cold water on my face and dab. Because as I've said many a time, you don't have anything to make up for and neither do I. Yeah. So we can...
And also be with somebody that likes your natural hair.
That's right.
That's right. If you got curly hair, you need to like curly hair. If you got straight hair, you need to like
now I'm not
hair.
in that situation right now, but I'm working on that.
You know what I mean.
But I know what you mean. You don't want somebody that wants you to have to look completely different than what you look naturally.
Speaking as a Black woman, you will run into guys that, I like when your hair is straight and long and like down your back.
Nah. It's his mama hair straight and long? Okay, then.
Well, we didn't have to go there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, then you're trying to date somebody different than who you dating.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not going to be that out in public in a bonnet, but I'm also not going to be in a ball gown at Walmart. Like, there's a healthy medium. And then dress for the occasion. Don't save the dress, though. I've learned that, too. Wear it, because we promised during COVID that, like, every time somebody said less, we're going to say go, like when we had to stay in the house. So now that we're outside, I'm not saving it. I'm going to wear it if I want to, especially if it looks nice on me. And I'm just going to live. Everybody live. And don't wait for validation from somebody to make you want to live. Like, dress up for yourself.
Yes. But moving on to more somber topics.
Uh-oh.
So everybody is in the news. Everyone has seen it. The largest pre-Civil War mansion that is on a plantation or former plantation, Nottoway Plantation in White Castle, Louisiana, burned down. And there were a lot of people celebrating it. And then there were a lot of people that were just like, oh, no, the plantation is burning down. Oh, no, no, no. So most of our people were like, oh, yeah, the witch is
I'm not
dead,
celebrating it, but I'm not upset either.
I won't say I'm celebrating it for legal reasons, but I will say that a lot of people were defending their heartbrokenness over this plantation burning down because of the history and it being like historical, and you can learn about the history, whatever. I went on the website.
If it had been historical and represented history properly,
quickly, let me just give some background on what, the articles have been saying. Like I said, it was the largest pre-Civil War plantation. Nottoway was a sugar plantation operated and constructed by slave labor on behalf of John Hamden Randolph in 1859 for roughly $80,000, equivalent to about $3 million in 2025. The home became a museum in the 1980s, opening its grand doors, 165 rooms, and acres plus a floor space to visitors from around the world to engage in challenging history and its floorboards. That's what they reported. But I went to the actual resort, in all capital letters, resort website. That was, the Nottoway Plantation. And I just want to read exactly what it says
on there,
because to me, it's a little bit interesting. So the way that they describe it too, and they're promoting book your stay today, is Nottoway Resort, a AAA four-diamond property and a member of Historic Hotels of America, is the home of the South's largest existing antebellum mansion, completed in 1859 and now stunningly restored to her days of glory.
Glory.
This isn't a history museum. This isn't a history
This is
tour.
a let's go celebrate when we could subjugate people
This is a place where people stay and
long for
the days of the past,
wishing they were in the land of cotton, that kind of thing.
Because I could not find, now, Nottoway, you'll reach out if you need.
Well, they don't need to reach out because it's been burned down.
But I don't see anywhere on here, and I've been looking for it. I don't see anywhere on here, specifically on the first page, that really talks about its true history. I see nowhere where it mentions learning about enslaved people. They have pictures of people getting married on their site. Tours are available 7 days a week.
So in other words, this is just somewhere where people can go and reminisce about a time when Black people were subjugated and forced to provide free labor.
It literally says in memory of John, whatever his freaking name was. The slave owner.
Okay.
So this gives some context on to why people were celebrating, because the only plantation that I have personally been to and also have heard of that does plantation tours correctly was the Whitney Plantation near New Orleans. It was also in Louisiana. Me and my friends went there when we did a girls trip to New Orleans, and you could, as a Black person, and for them too as non-Black people, but as minorities that have also been parts of groups that have been persecuted over centuries, you could feel the energy, and it was completely historical. Black people were running it. There in the gift shop, there were things about Black history. There were things from that were actually made in Africa that were shipped over, so you could have kind of a souvenir buying from African people.
Right.
Like everything about that place, everything was historically
accurate.
That
this is a historical event. It happened. It's not being celebrated, but
nothing,
you're being educated.
Nothing about it was joyous. Nothing about it was, oh, have an event here. It was all learning about history. It was all a somber tone. Like, and it wasn't in necessarily a way to make you feel.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you're Black, you're gonna feel depressed if you go to a plantation. But it wasn't a way to make you feel bad or to make.
But
white
it was
people
not
feel
presented
bad.
as nostalgia.
It was not nostalgia. It was not taking us back to the olden days. It wasn't any of that. It was literally just this is what happened here. This is how some of these people were freed. This is the people that were enslaved here. They used the correct terminology. And someone posted on TikTok a tour that they had. And I don't know how completely factually accurate this was because I was not there. This was just someone recording and posting it after the place burned down. But during the tour guide was talking about and she didn't say enslaved people, she said slaves. I prefer the term enslaved people. If you're educated, you're probably going to say enslaved people.
And there's a difference because slaves imply that they brought slaves from Africa. They brought people from Africa, and then they enslaved them. That is why
slaves is not a way to describe people. The same way that tribes isn't necessarily a way to describe groups of people. It's people. That's not you. I'm going off on a whole tangent. Yeah. But during the tour, she literally is just like, oh, and they made sure they had doctors and they made sure they had enough space. And the slaves were treated fairly well as slaves could be treated.
Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah, that's literally what the tour guide said as she's dressed in antebellum wear, like dressed like she is a part of the 1850s. She says slaves at that plantation, this plantation deserves to be saved and he deserves to be honored because he treated his slaves well. Mm. So I say all of that to say that, let it burn, in the words of Jasmine Sullivan.
Well, I'm not going to, because I'm sure people lost jobs and livelihood and all of that. That's never something that you want to celebrate.
Well, there were no injuries. I wouldn't celebrate if there were injuries. There were no injuries, to be clear.
I'm sure because it was a resort, people worked there or whatever, and all of them probably did not have malintent.
She said some of the descendants of the slaves still work there.
Okay.
And she celebrated that.
Hopefully for pay. I'm not going to celebrate the loss of people's livelihoods or even the destruction of property, but if you were not going to try to right some wrongs at this place, maybe that's why. Maybe the good Lord started.
I don't think you should be having and hosting weddings anywhere where somebody was whipped to death.
No.
That's like you going right now having a wedding in a funeral home.
No.
Or on a graveyard site.
No.
That's really weird. And I feel like people posting pictures and touring it and staying in that hotel, like, to me, it gives, you wish we could go back to those times.
Yeah.
And especially since there's so much history of, Black people having been enslaved in Louisiana and how tragic and terrible obviously these people have never read a book in their lives if they think going to a plantation to celebrate and to rejoice and to have fun.
Some people literally are wishing they were in the land of cotton. Old times, they're not forgotten. Look away. That's where their mentality is. So maybe this was some in a roundabout way poetic justice. I don't know.
The only thing that is featured that is historical on their website is there 16 majestic oak trees spread across 31 acres that are named after the Randolph children. That's what's being celebrated. Slaveholders and some trees.
Well, it's gone now. It's gone now. And it looked like the fire was good and hot. It's gone now. So maybe put something there that memorializes.
The title says Nottoway or however you're supposed to say the freaking name, Plantation Resort.
And even the word plantation, people that use the word plantation to describe places and locations, anyway? Okay.
It's to me, it's giving y'all has got some get out stuff going on there. Because it got some, did you watch the movie Antebellum with Janelle Monáe?
Did I?
Because this is what this reminds me of.
Maybe I did.
This movie has been out for years. I'm about to spoil it for you, but it's literally been out since 2018. So if y'all haven't seen it, I'm sorry. But what makes it so creepy is in the movie, basically, the present day Janelle Monáe, I forget what her character's name is, she keeps having flashbacks of what she thinks is her ancestors being enslaved or her being enslaved, but it's almost presented as flashbacks of we're going back in time. Come to find out, she was kidnapped on a plantation where they did race play. And this was all like her, like she was having to escape a real plantation from, like, it was almost like the movie M. Night Shyamalan made, The Village, where initially you think that this is something that happened in the past, the way they present it to the audience.
Or like that movie Alice with Keke Palmer.
But literally, like, you find out, like, this is actually going on in modern day, and she's been kidnapped because she sees somebody with a cell phone, and she's like, wait, hold on. So anyway, that, like, once again, I bring everything back to fiction, but like I said, fiction mimics reality. So to me, that's what plantation energy gives, is giving, you're doing race play and you want to go back to the olden times.
If the word plantation is in the name, I don't want to stay there. That's just me.
I didn't even, like, I was kind of resistant to going to the Whitney plantation until I read up on it and I saw what it was all about. And I was like, okay, this is going to teach me about my
education
history.
And history, that's one thing, but just celebrating the enslavement of a whole race of people, I can't.
I'm not doing nothing in memory of a slaveholder. And y'all can say it was a different time, but in a different time, I think I would have still known that people were people and not property.
I think your humanity says things to you. If you lack humanity, you can make yourself believe that someone that's walking, talking, looking just like you, just a couple shades darker, is different. But if you have true humanity, you got enough sense to know, oh, they walk like me, they talk like me, they can interbreed with me, like they can have kids with me. So maybe that's another human being. Like, if you don't have that capacity, you're not worth talking to.
Looking back at history, the first time that slavery was based on a race was American version of slavery. That it was never done before America decided to do it in /Europe, but before colonizers, I should say, decided, okay, this is how we're going to distinguish these people from these people, so we can enslave these people because they don't speak the same language and they don't act the same. So we're different. But anyway, in conclusion, y'all won't catch me dead going to no plantation and staying there and having a wedding there, because absolutely not. Moving on, Gemini Gems. I can go first.
Okay.
So you were driving the other day and you mentioned how you noticed your backup camera was a little foggy, a little fuzzy. I often forget to do this. I mean, I forget to do a lot of stuff that pertains to my car.
Well,
that, you and my boyfriend have to take over. But wipe off your backup camera and it will make you seem like you have a brand new car, especially if there's something on it, there's a smudge or whatever. You just have to remember to clean her off and make sure it looks fine and dandy. But, that's something that you don't necessarily think about.
A cotton ball or a Q-tip, you go out there, you find it, it's right by right above, most people is right above your car tag. Just clean it off. You would be amazed at how clear your backups will be after that, because, there's dirt and debris and stuff as you're driving, there's rain and whatever, you're in Florida, it gets, smudged or covered. Clean it off and you'll see a lot better.
Yeah.
And along those lines, same thing. You're in your car in Florida in the summertime. If you got a good car, you got air conditioning running, make sure that you are keeping the air conditioner, the AC filter cleaned or changed. Now, I say clean or change because some people will recommend that you change it periodically, and it probably does need to be changed. But sometimes you can, if you know how to do it or know someone that can do it, take it out and just like dust it off, shake it off, and get the excess pollutants out of it. But change the air filter, especially in the summertime, because you're going to be riding with the windows up, air conditioner going, and you're breathing in whatever is not being filtered well through that filter. So I think your air quality, and it may even make your car run a little bit better, and your air conditioner run a little bit better and more efficiently if you change the air filter and or clean it if you know how to clean it.
Yeah. And with all of that being said, we taught y'all a little something.
Hopefully.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Period.